Right then guys, just a quick update on where we're at. I decided last night that I was going to go with, on when I'm fishing Rother Valley and places that I ain't fished Rother Valley for a while, so I'm going to go. I'd be stupid not to go with a bait that I've used on there and it's tried and tested and I know it works. But saying that, I've tried all kinds of baits on Rother Valley and I've always done well on every bait we've ever rolled on there, to be perfect nice, from Tutti Frutti to Banoffee to krill. But this year I wanted to roll a bait that only I was using, only I'm going to use from now pretty much until until the end of the year, really, until next winter. And it's going to be a banana bait, and I'm going to call it banana split. Now it contains a lot of coconut, probably double the amount of coconut to what the Banoffee's got in it. It also contains bloodworm. Now the results I had on Bloody Pineapple last year, they speak for themselves. And I definitely think that when I was using it without the bloodworm in, I was still having fish, but I weren't having multiple hits at the same time like I was having. Once I brought that the hook back and it had bloodworm on the hook, and I found that nice little patch, it was a bloodworm bed. So obviously I would have been really stupid not to have used bloodworm in some foam on that actual spot, because there was bloodworm already there. So to add more to it, which in the beginning was actually sticky bait's bloodworm, and then I went over to a far better bait company as far as I'm concerned, CC Moore's bloodworm liquid, and I started adding that to the bait. But then I started to buy bloodworm as in freezer bloodworm, dried and freezer bloodworm. And I also started adding something that I'd wanted to use for a long time, and that was mealworm. Now it's the results on that were unbelievable, and that bait is still for sale today. But I did notice that the coated version did far better than the uncoated, and by that I mean one of them was it was air dried and then it was glugged. Heavily glugged in bloodworm, a bloodworm liquid, and then it was coated in a coating that I made separately, and it gave it a dusted to the outside. Now the real reason for doing that, I will be honest with you, was because it was messy, and your hands ended up in a state, and you just ended up smelling. And so the coating what to prevent you getting a right mess. So, but the results just were unbelievable from it, and the way that once it hit the bottom of the lake and it left that dusting around each bit. Now even if you got cleared out, you still had that dusting, and I'm telling you, it attracted the fishing. The dusting definitely attracted the fishing. It was far too small a food item for the birds to be interested in, so they didn't bother diving on that. And then that's when I went solely over to crumb and flake. Now the flake that I ain't seen another company do it in the way that I do it. It's you get it in strips, and when it goes onto the bottom of the lake in warmer weather, the minute a carp comes over it and drops down onto it, or its pegs, when it moves its pegs, the flake stuff actually breaks apart and it goes into crumb. But they keep coming back for it. They love it. But I've only really used KBS in that style of with the crumb, because it's an eye krill bait, and I noticed that most people that were fishing that pond that I was on was using sticky baits krill. Now as far as I'm concerned, the KBS is one of the best baits that I've definitely ever done. Anyway, it's the content in it is unbelievable. It's the reason I don't like selling it, is because it's so expensive to make. Now that's the reason that it's far more to buy than any of the other baits. It's because of the bloodworm in it. It's far more for me to make. So, but this year I'm gonna go solely with this banana bait, and I think it'll do well. It's very, it's more, I made it more subtle. The smell is more subtle. It's not a pungent smelling banana bait. And I've gone for that. That's not been done by mistake. It's been done for a reason. And that is that I noticed that also that the takes always seem to come on the second day when we were fishing. Now that I believe myself that's because the baits were too strong for the first 24 hours. Is the reason I've reduced the actual smell of the baits, but there always is a few baits in there that are slightly stronger smelling. So it's I do like it. I like that. Some stronger than others. It kind of gives wash starts effects in some way to me. It just gives me a confidence. So, but I've got a funny feeling this is going to do really well. It's got high content of black pepper in there, and it's also got a lot of chili. Now, that's another thing. Last year, the results that I had with bream is I think I had 3 bream out of treating all year. So that tells you that, number one, definitely that black pepper and that chili that I'm putting in there, in the amounts I'm putting in, definitely keeps them bream at bay, because I didn't have none whatsoever, and I only had very few tench as well. But it was mainly carp. Every take was near enough a carp. I'd say about 90% of the takes I had on treating last year were carp, and I think I lost two fish last year on it. It's when they took it confidently. It's the hook was way back. It weren't just in the lip. It was way back. They took it way back, and that's because the pop-ups that I use are super buoyant. They've got coat dust in as well as being made with a pop-up mix. So they're super buoyant. And if you do them in a way that the putty just sinks that bait, I can guarantee you now, honestly, that you can't do it too so it sinks really slow. Otherwise, you end up with foul-up fish. Now you will do it with that without the coat dust. So I just do it so they sink nice and not too slowly, but they sink nice and medium slow sink. But when they take it flies back into the mouth, and there's no getting away with it. It's the water were clear on there, so you saw everything. And the minute it were in the mouth, it was game over for fish. Simple as it was game over. So we'll see how we go with this one. I'm hoping to get down here this weekend, and I'm not hoping. I'm hoping to get out this weekend fishing. If weather's going to be bad, it will more than likely be for grayling. If the weather's going to be all right, then I'm hoping to get her up to Treaton, not Treaton, to Langworth, and get a bit of fishing done up there. See Old Cliff, I ain't seen him for a while, so there we go. There'll be a second part to this, so I'll show you a finished bit. But this is how it looks at them. You can see the amount of coconut in there, and those dark flecks are actual bloodworm. So there's a lot going on in this bait, and I've got a funny feeling it's going to be really nice. I wrote everything down, so if you're making your own bait, make sure you write everything down, because it can result in you're making a bait that's really good, you know what I mean, and you won't end up doing as well on it. Or you'll do really well on it, but you'll forget what you put in it. Now you need to remember everything you're putting in it, just in case it is really effective, which I know for definite this will be effective. There will be pictures for Sunday, guarantee it. See you later.